Two ultra-thin flagships, one Android, one iOS. Today we're comparing the Samsung Galaxy Edge S25 and the iPhone Air. So the iPhone Air and Samsung's S25 Edge are both pushing boundaries in 2025. They're thinner, lighter and packed with flagship power than I've ever seen before. The downside is we've got smaller batteries in these phones and cramped space for thermals. So in this video, I'm going to break down the differences on both phones to find out which one you should buy, if any. And is it worth going thin or should we go thicker? So even though these phones are trying to achieve the same thing, they both go down different paths to get to the thinness. For example, the iPhone Air has all the internals, most of it packed into the camera housing up here, whereas the S25 Edge is slightly different design, slightly bigger, but has a very smaller camera bump and can achieve the thinness all the way around. So I think, we've got 5.8 millimeters thickness on the S25 Edge, 163 grams with a titanium frame, Gorilla Glass ceramic 2, front and back. So this is a very well made phone and very strong. iPhone Air is equally as well made, 5.6 millimeters thick. So it is a thinner design because of that camera module here, where they've put the chips inside it, the new Apple modem, stuff like that. So it just keeps it a bit thinner. 165 grams, so it's slightly heavier. Grade 5 titanium frame, so Apple really pushed the frame on this, saying how amazing it is. Ceramic shield 2, front and back. So, durability wise, they should be the same. So this is kind of like looking at the design and build of these phones to find out which one is the best one to go for. Is there any difference? Is there actually any key differences in both? So as we've mentioned, the iPhone is technically the thinner phone, but reality is the bump makes it feel the same thickness, and also it gives it a bit of a top heavy weight to it. I mean, it's not, when I say weight, it's still a light phone, but it almost feels like you're gonna tip forward a little bit because of that large camera bump. And if you didn't have it in a case, which would be a shame to put it in a case because it's so thin, you could technically, I suppose, drop it on the camera bump and more likely to scratch it. So just thinking about that, it does stick out more on the iPhone Air than the iPhone S25 Edge. The S25 Edge is the flattest design of all of them, and it has this camera bump here, which actually doesn't protrude too much. It protrudes less, I find, than on the Z Fold 7, for example, and the titanium frame all around feels very well made. It does feel actually lighter than the iPhone Air. I know it does technically, but it does actually feel it when you pick it up. It may all be in my head, but it does feel it. So all design-wise, there isn't much difference in them. Obviously, the main difference really is one's Android, one's iOS, but we'll come on to that on the software side later. Buttons wise, you've got very similar buttons. Obviously the iPhone Air has a camera button on the side of it, as all iPhones do nowadays, and that works really well, so I am a fan of the camera button. I wouldn't say missing it off the S25 Edge is a big deal, but Android are starting to get that now. One thing that is key on the S25 Edge is we get a physical SIM card slot. So I've recently encountered the downsides of using eSIM. So I converted my card to an eSIM because I wanted to try the iPhone Air out. And I put it in the iPhone Air, then transferred it back to Android a few times, and suddenly my eSIM died. So I had to go into the shop and get a physical SIM card. It was a real pain, and then I couldn't use the iPhone Air again since then. So I've not converted it back since because of all the pain I had with it. It may just be the network I was on, but so far I'm not keen on eSIM. Whereas the S25 Edge gives you a physical SIM card slot, so nice to have. We've got one speaker on both phones, which is at the top here, and I'm not sure what it is on the Edge, but it is the speakers are taking a bit of a hit on both phones. But again, we'll come on to that on performance later. So design-wise, very similar. We've got the iPhone Air available in just the blue, but it looks white. Can anyone see is that actually blue? I can't tell if it's blue, but they do a blue, white, gold, and black. I think they do. And the S25 Edge is available in blue, white, and black. So very downscale colours, nothing that exciting on either of them, but nice to have different colours as well, but very low-key colours. They are aimed at that kind of market that isn't bothered about oversaturated colours, so maybe not young people, more sort of mid-range market, people who want a thinner phone, more keen on style and don't want to show off the phones too much. I think that's kind of where we're going with these thin phones. So now we've done design, let's get on to looking at the display. So the displays on both these phones are very similar. So the Samsung S25 Edge leads the pack with 6.7-inch LTPO AMOLED 2x display. Slightly lower resolution, well, a different resolution to the iPhone Air. It's very much the same, 120Hz, HDR10, 1416 nits peak brightness. So it does go It's not as bright as the iPhone Air on the Samsung S25 Edge, but it is a nice display and it is bigger than the iPhone Air too. So the iPhone Air is a 6.5-inch Super Retina XDR display, as Apple like to market it as, and it is a beautiful display. The colours on it are really nice. It's accurate, 120Hz ProMotion, which we'd expect for this price range, and Dolby Vision support. So don't get Dolby Vision on Samsung because Samsung hate Dolby Vision. They don't support it on their TVs, and they always go for HDR10. And that's not a big deal breaker because most formats are available in HDR10 and in Dolby Vision, so don't worry too much about that. But it is one thing to bear in mind. So the iPhone wins on brightness and Dolby Vision support, while Samsung offers higher resolution and slightly larger screen real estate. And you do notice the difference on the size of the display when you fire it up. When you're watching videos, for example, or gaming, the bigger display on the Samsung is nice to have. And when I've taken these out into the real world, I have to say that I do prefer the Edge for everyday use because that bigger screen, and it's not much in it, but it is just a bit bigger. And it does make a difference in terms of usability, I find. In my mind, Samsung's OLEDs have always been some of the best on the market, and I think it's true here that the S25 Edge has a stunning OLED display. The iPhone is not far behind at all, and it's very similar, but I'll show you some shots side by side and let me know which one do you think. Do you think the S25 Edge or the iPhone Air has a better display? So we've looked at displays, there is some differences, but the actual overall displays are very similar. So let's look at performance now. So the iPhone Air uses the Apple's A19 Pro chip, which is cut down over the A19 Pro in the iPhone 17 Pro Max. But it's still a powerful chip, so it's got one less core, but actually it's still very powerful and benchmarks really well. And in the in the S25 Edge, we've got Snapdragon's 8 Elite, which is last year's high-performance CPU from the Android market, and it also is not cut down at all. It's a full-fat CPU, so we saw a cut-down 8 Elite in the Oppo foldable recently, so this was actually a full-fat 8 Elite. And I was worried about this in the S25 Edge when it launched, because I wondered about the thinness of the design, whether or not it would overheat, but actually it performs quite well. So we've got 12 gigabytes of RAM in both. One obviously runs iOS, so this is the iOS iPhone Air, and one runs Android. So this is the key difference. So whether you want Android or iOS is going to dictate which phone you buy, obviously. But if you're on the Edge, if you're thinking here, I've had iOS for years and I do fancy a change to Android, but I do want a thin phone, the S25 Edge is a great phone. On performance-wise, you're not going to feel like a downgrade moving from iOS at all. And if you the other way around, if you're an Android user and you want to move to iPhone and you fancy one of the thin phones and you're looking at both of them, then the iPhone Air is a great performing phone as well. So I did some gaming on these phones because I know a lot of people don't do that, so I ran the cameras on them. I've been recording 4K 60 on the iPhone Air, I've recorded 4K 60 on the S25 Edge. And I'm not going to lie to you, both these phones, if you push them hard, get warm. So the back of the phone here, particularly on the iPhone Air, the camera module gets pretty hot. But I didn't actually see any thermal throttling on the iPhone Air. So the Samsung S25 or the Snapdragon 8 Elite did thermal throttle a little bit in gaming, but not too much. And the iPhone Air kept powering through gaming for a good hour and didn't die. So in terms of its thermal throttling, but obviously the battery died quicker than on a main phone with its smaller battery, but that's another section for the battery. So in terms of performance, both actually perform pretty well for the size of the phones and the thinness. So I don't think you're going to notice much difference in terms of these phones, in terms of performance at all. There is some key differences on the camera side of things on both phones, but that's kind of so we'll get to in a minute. But in terms of actual performance of these phones, everyday performance, they're snappy to use on the iOSs or the Android software, Android 16. One UI, they're very fast on the camera side of things, they're very quick for gaming, and they do get a bit warm, but actual thermal throttling isn't too bad. So that's just one thing to bear in mind. On the performance, it is actually pretty good. So I think this leads us nicely onto battery and charging. So in the Samsung S25 Edge, we've got a 3900 milliamp battery, which is 25 watt wired charging and 15 watt wireless charging. So Samsung did give us a decent sized battery, and it's obviously a lot smaller than the S25 Ultra and the S25 Plus, for example, so the battery is going to be a bit compromised. But on the iPhone Air, we've got an even smaller 3149 milliamp battery, and even slower 20 watt wired and 15 watt MagSafe charging. So we do have some compromises on the battery side of things. So what have I found from real world use? Well, the S25 Edge will get you through, so actually I'm going to say this for both phones. Both phones, surprisingly, will get you through moderate to heavy usage day. So I went out, took them out on 5G, gaming, and both phones got me through to the afternoon. I was left on about 20-30% battery. And then it, towards the evening, I was needing to charge up. So that was after a heavy day's use. In the house on Wi-Fi, just doing stuff in the studio, I actually noticed that both phones got me through the day easily and just needed charging up at night. So I got to about 40%, 30% on Wi-Fi. So the 5G does drain the phones much quicker as expected. And using Wi-Fi is fine. And the problem with both phones is they're quite slow charging. So if you plug the iPhone Air in, you particularly notice how slow it is to charge. Charge at 20 watts. It's a smaller battery, so it doesn't take too long to charge, but you just notice it compared to other phones in this kind of price range. And these are obviously expensive phones, they're £1,000 phones, so they've got slow charging and smaller batteries. So it is a compromise. To get the thinness, we are talking about smaller batteries and slower charging. So if you're prepared to put up with that, that's fine. It's not the end of the world. I mean, if you're out of the house every day and heavy use of the phone, I would not recommend these phones because they will need topping up right regularly and it will become a pain to do that. So I would just not go for a thin phone if you're a power user, basically, for everyday use, because it just isn't there yet on the battery side of things. So I think Samsung wins on the charging side, on the phone charging speeds and the capacity, but actually the iPhone isn't bad far behind because of power measures. So both are pretty equal, even though Samsung's got a better battery. But the Samsung Edge is kind of the winner here overall compared to the iPhone Air. So now let's look at the camera system. So the camera systems on both phones are slightly compromised. So the compromise on the iPhone is that you've only got one 48 megapixel fusion camera on the back, which is definitely a downgrade compared to the iPhone 17, which gives you a ultra wide 48 megapixel and a wide 48 megapixel. So what do we, is having one camera going from multi-camera phone to one camera phone, is it a nightmare? I honestly say over the course of using the phone, I didn't mind it too much. So for everyday shooting, everyday filming, such as filming your kids, dogs, outside landscape shots, the main 48 megapixel camera is absolutely fine. And it's a good camera, it does some decent results. I've used it to film some video on the channel for that HDR, 4K HDR, Dolby Vision 4K 60, and it produces good results. It's as good as the main camera on the iPhone 17 Pro Max and Pro, hands down, no difference. But when you want that, if you want to adjust it more, so you've only got a 2x crop zoom with this one camera, which is quite good, but it's not a proper zoom, it's just a crop zoom on the sensor, and you start to notice a downgrade in quality. So if you want to zoom in further than 2x, don't bother, the quality is terrible. One thing you do get on the front of the iPhone Air now is you get a nice 18 megapixel center stage camera. So this camera is a square shaped sensor, as I mentioned in my iPhone 17 review, which I'll put a link to. So I won't go on about it too much, but it gives you the ability to flick the sensor around and have a wider stage shot. So on the iPhone, on the S25 Edge, we've got a 200 megapixel main camera, which gives you a bit more versatility, and a wide 12 megapixel camera. So I think the iPhone S25 Edge is the best camera phone on this test. The reason why that is because that 200 megapixel wide lens may enable you to zoom in further because you've got more megapixels to play with. Also, you've got a 12 megapixel ultra wide shot for those important group shots and also landscape shots. It does 4K 120 HDR, which we don't get on the iPhone Air, which is good for your creators, for example. And the front camera is a standard 12 megapixel selfie camera, so it isn't as good as the iPhone Air, but it is fine. So you've got the cameras on the S25 Edge are just better in my mind for versatility. But the actual iPhone Air camera for its 48 megapixel main camera is fine for everyday use and actually produces some decent results. So the cameras are heavily compromised on these. So if you're into your cameras, I wouldn't recommend going for one of these ultra thin phones, but the S25 Edge does have the slightly better camera system over the iPhone Air, in my opinion. So let's kind of look at these extra perks that you get with each ecosystem on these phones, because this might be the key selling point for what device you've got. So if you've got an iPad, for example, you may be looking at the iPhone Air because you've got the cross-device compatibility. If you've got an Apple Watch already, we're looking at the iPhone Air because you have to buy a new watch to go with the S25 Edge. If you've already got Samsung devices, I'm guessing you'll be looking at the S25 Edge. I use multiple devices in the studio, so I don't mind switching between Android and iOS. I do it all the time. I don't really have any problems with it, but if you're not used to it, this may dictate which one you go for. So from the example on the Samsung, you get the excellent Samsung DeX. So if you plug this into your monitor with USB-C or a dock, it will give you a full desktop compatibility, which is nice to have. You've also got ultra wideband on both, which is good for connecting to watches, etc. IP68 on both. S25 Edge, actually, I did say I had mono speakers earlier, but the S25 Edge actually does have a stereo setup, so it's slightly better for sound than the iPhone Air. But both are pretty bad, if I have to say that, so I wouldn't bother listening to both speakers. They're just okay. Obviously, the iPhone Air has the action button, which gives you the ability to customize it and link into the software and better and have it in just different modes. You've got camera control, satellite connectivity on the Apple software and Apple ecosystem with the laptop and stuff like that. So there is some key differences on the software side of it. I do like One UI on the Samsung. I think it's very nice. I do like iOS's multi-device compatibility too. I think it works really well. Let's kind of look at pricing then. So the S25 Edge, now it's been out a while. You can pick it up for about, I think I picked it up for $799 with a 256GB model. So it goes up to $2,512 and the iPhone Air starts at £1,000. No discount because you're paying the Apple tax. This will go up to $1,500, I think it is, for the 1TB model. So it's a really expensive phone. And there is more storage options because you can't get a terabyte in the Edge. But why would you want to really? Go for a Pro Max if you want that kind of storage. So I think in terms of if you want the 1TB model in the Air, then yes, it's available. If you want the high storage option, the Edge goes up to 512. So the Air wins on the sort of storage side of it, but the S25 Edge wins easily on the pricing because it's available at a discount. You obviously get freebies thrown in at Samsung, which you would never get on Apple. So I'm going to ask you now, over to you, which one would you pick? Which one do you think is the best one? Do you want to go for Samsung Spec Monster or Apple's ultra thin powerhouse? Because Samsung have really packed in everything into the S25 Edge over the iPhone Air. I think the iPhone Air is more of a compromise. Obviously it looks nicer and works with Apple's ecosystem perfectly, and the battery life is a bit more tailored towards everyday use, but more with some compromises on that as well. So I think overall, my favourite ultra-thin phone is the Samsung S25 Edge, and I've used that a few times recently and I particularly enjoyed it. If you are into your ecosystem, then the iPhone Air is a decent phone. It does feel well made and it's strong, but it's very expensive. And I don't know, do you think these phones are going to last? Do you think ultra-thin phones are going to last? I'm not actually that big a fan of them. I like the S25 Edge in terms of its usability, but actually if I went for an S25 Ultra, I would prefer using that. And if I went for an iPhone 17 Pro Max, I would prefer using that, which are actually a little bit more expensive, but nearly the same price by the time you factor in the higher storage options. So have a think. Which one would you go for? Would you go for any of these phones, or would you go for a standard iPhone 17 or a Samsung S25 or S26 when it comes out? I want to hear your thoughts, because I don't know what people think about these thin phones. In my mind, I'm not bothered. I'm happy to stick with the chunkier phones with more power. So that's just my thought. But I have enjoyed doing this video. I think it highlights some key differences between the phones, and it's interesting to see that in the real world. So thank you for watching. I appreciate a subscribe and a thumbs up if you can. And get involved in the comments. Let me know your thoughts, and I'll speak to you next time. Thank you very much.